So my name is Alin, as Selina said. I have been working in Novo for the last couple of years. I have 3 years of experience here, 15 in total, been working in multiple industries, and I have been doing activities from business development, sales, entrepreneurship as well as my own businesses. So today I'll be talking about the learnings that we have from the GoGlobal Freelancer Services program that we have developed within Novo Nordisk. And I'm sitting today on behalf of a lot of people that have been working on this, okay? So it's not just me, so that we are very clear about that. I'm just the one who, let's say, got chosen for today's talk. And I'm wearing a tie because I'm still part of finance. So let's clarify that, because I see everybody's very relaxed and I feel a little bit awkward, but it is what it is. Okay, so this is me when I had the long hair. Now, welcome to Novo Nordisk. Again, thank you very much for joining us. I will start a little bit by telling you about Novo. We are really, and I'm very proud actually to be part of this company because we are driving change for a generation. A little bit about the agenda. I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse on Novo Nordisk, what we are doing here. Then I will, let's say, give you a little bit of insights of how corporate procurement works and what does it mean for us here in Novo Nordisk, so that you get a little bit of understanding how we actually came up with the program as well. Then, of course, Freelancer Services, how does it work for us? And then we'll have a Q&A. But feel free to stop me. So this can be a conversation. It's not necessarily that I go through the slides. I have slides like every corporate guy. Comes with a lot of slides here, so I have 14. Let's see. And also pictures, so it's going to be fine. Good. As I said, welcome to Novo. We are a 100-year-old company, and I think that says a lot about us. We have been driving change, as we call it, for generations through our innovation. And what I think it's actually very important is that besides innovation, we have a very collaborative model. So we really drive collaboration internally and externally. We work together with other entities so that we can actually achieve the best for our patients. And that is something that we do in procurement as well, and I will come back to that. How do we also work with suppliers across the value chain? At a glance, you probably know Novo by now. It's a big company. But personally, what I'm very, very proud of are two numbers out of these, whatever fantastic results we have. We are a company of 55,000 employees. I think this is very important to remind everybody that we are actually investing a lot into our internal talent as well. So we are committed in developing internal people on a constant basis. And with these people, what we do, we deliver medicines to around 40 million patients worldwide. So innovation, collaboration, we are 55,000. We are the ones who are delivering life-saving medicines for around 40 million patients around the globe. But how do we do that? How does it work? And of course, I'm representing here procurement. And sometimes procurement is seen in certain organizations as the bad guy. Don't say that to anybody. We are not a bad guy. The procurement organization in Novo Nordisk is actually a strategic partner of the business. Yeah, so we really try to work together with line of business to achieve what they are working on. Yeah, so whatever strategies, plans they have, we actually work together with them to bring them the best suppliers that we find in the market. And here we have, industry and suppliers in the same room, and we know how that works. I have actually worked with a lot of you until now. I see a lot of familiar faces, so I know a lot of the suppliers that are here as well. So how does procurement work? What does it mean for us? Because I am part of procurement, which is indirect procurement. Just to give you a little bit of a glimpse, what is the value chain of Novo Nordisk, right? So we work across all of the value chain in indirect procurement. And indirect procurement for us means everything that is not involved in the direct product that we have in the market, yeah? So in indirect procurement, we are working across the value chain from R&D till the end, marketing and sales. And I think that is actually very important because this gives you a problem statement from the beginning is how do you actually diversify your portfolio of suppliers to serve the entire value chain? How do you do that? Yeah, that's very difficult. How do you do it so that it actually makes sense for the business? And sometimes you have suppliers that are very focused, which is perfect. But that's how we actually thought, okay, maybe freelancer services can be an idea at certain tasks out there. And I'll give you a little bit of the history at how we came here. And this is why we move into GoGlobal, into Freelancer Services. A couple of years ago, I used this slide. Probably you have seen it also, if I remember well, 2 years ago when we had the summit. This text is in Danish, but the idea is like this. I will tell you, I will translate it a little bit with my very limited Danish. So, there was an article in Borsen at that moment where they were actually talking about the fact that if you want, I don't know, a service like translation, you go to Novo Nordisk, you say it costs 100,000 crowns, and they will pay. Why is that? Because, and we have people from the industry, big companies, they will not look at tail spend, as we would call it in procurement, so smaller spends out there for commodity services. They will not look into that. They will say, okay, that's how much it should be. We will pay that one. 100,000 DKK is approximately, I don't know, 13,000 euros, yeah? And that's actually quite a lot for a translation, to be honest. And then what we did was to benchmark with the global companies out there. What we have noticed in terms of trends, and you'll have more inspirational talks along the day where you'll see the trends in freelancer services, how do they work. But what we have seen is that other companies are already using freelancers, yeah? And the pioneers were, of course, the IT businesses. And then we had other companies following from pharma, from universities, and so on. So we started creating a benchmark. We looked at the services, and then we knew that there is something out there that we can do with freelancers. So it all started with a pilot where we have externalized a couple of services. But of course, we had to mature the program and we had to put it in a frame, right? So what does it mean? We have designed the first freelancer services program within Novo Nordisk that is actually managing the tail spend. So all of the commodity services that we are talking about to mirror the value chain, yeah? So from R&D to marketing and sales. And that's how we were also organized, to actually serve the business like this. And we have developed a platform online within our internal setup where line of business was able to submit projects and work on different with different platforms to find the right freelancers. And we are doing this on a constant basis. So we started getting a lot of projects in on our platform, and then they got access to top talent. Top talent. Good. What happened next? We had to define a value proposition. Yeah, these are again, as I said, I will give you the technical things that we have done, and also what was it that we have identified out there. So, as I said, the service portfolio that GoGlobal or the freelancer services are doing in Novo Nordisk, they go across the value chain. We are very proud that after a couple of years of maturing the program, we have very clear, dedicated services that we work with. So we have four main buckets of services. We talk about creative side. We talk about everything that is related to Power BI and all of these newer dashboard Alteryx things that are happening out there. We talk about software development, yeah, AR, VR, websites, SharePoint sites. So again, things that have actually become quite commoditized in the last couple of years, and freelancers can do them without any type of problem. And then, of course, we have a fourth leg that is a little bit more complex when it comes to this. It's consultancy, where we see a lot of great consultants out there, and we have a couple of suppliers that are representing that went in the freelance mode, and they are competing with bigger companies such as McKinsey or the Big Four. Yeah, so we have that part of our program as well. We have validated the value proposition, and I actually wanted to put this in place because, again, it's part of our really, really hard work of working around the clock with really hundreds of projects now. So our value proposition has been validated year over year. What we see is that we are providing, with the Freelancer Services, we are providing an on-demand agile setup. Yeah, so you get access to the freelancer to do the work when it's needed. You don't engage in a long conversation with an agency or a big supplier that might take up to, I don't know, 1 month to actually come up with a good offer or a good, let's say, bid for your RFP. You have savings. Again, I'm in procurement. I appreciate savings from suppliers. But actually, that is the selling point that we receive from the suppliers of freelancers, right? They provide us with a, let's say, competitive, more efficient pricing model than what a big company is doing, right? Then we have the part with copyrights. This is specifically for marketing. We all know that sometimes we have to negotiate copyrights with different agencies. When a freelancer works, we already retain the copyrights for those types of jobs. We have a high level of transparency. All of the suppliers, and you'll hear maybe a little bit of how they operate, they actually give you a platform or a website or whatever you want to call it, even an email at the end where they tell you how many hours have been spent on a specific project. And that's actually very important because you sometimes lose track and you really don't know what has happened. But actually suppliers of freelancers, they give you a very transparent way of working. Okay? We have fast delivery, and it's the same quality. It's au par to what a big supplier can offer. Yeah, and believe me, I've checked many times this part, and I know it. It's really au par to what a big supplier can offer you. And then you have access to top global talent. That's what we have worked across with our suppliers, to have access to our to global talent for our jobs. Okay. And now, if you don't believe me, let's see a little bit of a video that will describe what we are doing here so that you can understand what we have been working with.
The reason I chose this way of working was because I found it to be a very easy way to reach out to the competences I wanted. Working with the freelancers was surprisingly easy, I should say. You rather quickly get a personal relation to them, and for some reason it feels like you actually have a colleague on the other side of the world.
My experience working with freelancers was really good. We had a good communication throughout the project, and they delivered a high quality product in the end. And also it was just fun working with someone outside of the organization. The service was good. They were very flexible throughout the project, and the response time was short, and the communication was in general really good.
We started in the beginning not knowing what we wanted, and then specifically, and then we have developed something together that we all still say, wow. They were able to pretty much see what was in our heads before we were able to even draw it on paper.
So the biggest benefit of using freelancers is that we have direct access to the best competences. The support from the GoGlobal team has been very good, which means that I will definitely use the service again.
We provide project management and project completion assurance services to Novo Nordisk. What defines a successful project for me is that the client's expectations should be met, and they should be met on time. That's the definition of a successful project. Doing my job in an excellent manner makes me proud.
My name is Bojan Simjanovski. I am a freelancer from Ohrid, Macedonia, a videographer, motion graphics artist and post-production specialist. The hard work definitely makes me proud, improving constantly, working with a few people that are always happy with my work, delivering projects swiftly and with the highest quality possible. A dream project for me is a project that will challenge me, that will improve my work, a project that will move thousands, even millions of people.
Guess with whom this video was made? Just guess, like, it was with a freelancer, right? So we all know that. Good. I wanted to show you this video because actually my next, I have two more things to say. I will talk a little bit about the disciplines that we apply in a program because again, I'm a program manager, so I have to do it with a little bit of skills, I would say. But one point that I want to make when it comes to freelancers, and I'm really, I have this idea since I've talked to a lot of the freelancers that we have seen in our supplier pool. It's actually quite a, let's say, mission for them to work with certain companies out there. So we should not disregard that because I think they take a lot of pride in working with companies, global companies, and making really hard work maybe than other more privileged people out there. So I really appreciate working with them from this point of view. The mindset is quite different, I would say. I don't know if my slides are working or not, but I will try. GoGlobal. I see something moving. Yeah, it's okay. Super. As I said, I will talk a little bit about the disciplines. Again, I don't want to bore you with the technicalities. This is not something that is, let's say, exhaustive list. I have listed just the most important disciplines that we have applied in the program to actually make it work within the organization. And I will give a little bit of consideration what I think it's missing from here. So we worked a lot with the first leg, which is this part of project management, program management, where you really need to set up a very good governance of the program. You have to have roles and responsibilities. You have to look at the really project management end-to-end of what you're doing, what type of program you're putting in place. We have actually captured a lot of the learnings when we are implementing the program inside the company with different models. We have hypercare, we have self-service. So we actually put also some business models in place, and that goes into business development. Partnerships, as I said earlier, because we really serve the entire value chain. We see our suppliers as a partner, and we really want to work with them as partners because, suppliers have their own strength and weaknesses for that matter. So we really need to look into that. And a lot of change management. So we really worked with our stakeholders to make things happen. We do business development, and that means from let's say, sub-disciplines such as account management. So if you look at the organization, because we are a big organization, we treated each, let's say, EVP, SVP area as an account, yeah? So what does that mean? Well, we need to go out there, we need to have a focused language for them, we need to have the right value proposition. So what we have identified at 6, let's say, high-level value propositions. Then when you go into the business, you have to be very precise about what you're doing out there. But we worked with our partners as well before that, yeah. So with the stakeholder, with the suppliers, account management, you have to do marketing as well. So sorry, but that's how it is. You have to promote it somehow. You have the video that you have seen. It was used for promotional purposes as well within the organization. And then you have to put some kind of business models around it, yeah. So you have to think it as a business. It might be we have different models. We have self-service, hypercare, depending also of the supplier that we work with. And then the last one is procurement, where yes, we do look at suppliers as partners, but we also look at them as suppliers. So we have to negotiate rates. We have to be careful to everything that is regarding compliance and all of the legal part of the freelancer setup, because that's a little bit more complex, let's say. And then we need to look into how do we actually integrate these suppliers into the categories that you have in the company. Yeah? So if you look at procurement functions, you have to integrate them within the categories in themselves. And again, I've been very lucky to be part of an organization in procurement that is very collaborative. So we were able to work together with our category managers and make it, roll it out a little bit easier than maybe other organizations would. Two things that are missing from this slide. I think one of the very important disciplines is you have to have an entrepreneurial drive, and you have to understand what entrepreneurship means as a discipline so that you can actually be flexible in the way you approach line of business, because that might be a little bit complicated sometimes. And then you really need to do the whole understanding of the value chain. Yeah, so we need to understand, because I'm in a pharma company, we have a complex value chain. So you really need to understand what is the value chain so that you can have a tailored value proposition for them. Good. I have the last learning now. Again, I don't know why I'm the first speaker, because my presentation is very technical, okay? So I hope you're not going to fall asleep, but we have more inspiring people afterwards. I just wanted to share again all of the learnings that we have. Hopefully, the industry will be inspired and will actually be able to put in place freelancer programs, maybe following a little bit of what we have done. But the last more technical part that I want to show you is, let's say, a little bit of a known thing. I don't think I'm saying anything new, yeah? So I'm not pretending here that I'm... maybe we have done a little bit more focused. And this is my last point here. Focus creates the biggest impact, right? So what we have done, we have designed our purpose, yeah? So for us, Freelancer Services provide us with really major savings that we can invest in innovation, yeah? That's at our core. We want to serve the patient. So with certain parts of the business where we can actually decouple costs, we can actually make an impact out there in the markets that we operate, yeah? And then we have chosen 3 main services that can be done by freelancers with the supplier pool that we have. So we have staff augmentation, so where we add up resources, hands and arms and legs to the projects that we work with. We have the part with IT and digital, and advertising and creative. And this is modeled with what we are talking in terms of services that we have out there. And of course, we let's say measure 3 parameters, right? So we look at the projects. What is it that we create as a value? And then we have targets on all of them. Process and technology, and we have a very clear sustainability agenda in Novo Nordisk that we need to make sure that all of the suppliers that we have here are actually following the rules when it comes to sustainability. And in IT and digital, we talk about BI and the digital agencies, because there are a lot of digital agencies at the freelancer side as well. It's small setups of 2-3 freelancers that are actually working together, and they can do amazing things. And I've seen that happen from my own experience. Again, you measure the number of projects, you measure the integration within the procurement part, and then what is the savings that you are going to provide? Because again, we are part of finance and we are very clear on the numbers that we are working with. So again, for us, it was a journey in finding the focus. And as you can see also in the, let's say in the slides, you see 4 buckets of services. And then when we reached the last phase, let's say the most recent one of our program, we got even more focused, yeah? We have 3 services. We have the number of suppliers that are going to work with all of the services. We know how many projects we are delivering on a constant basis. And then we know very clearly what is the impact that they have, because we measure it constantly. We have Power BI dashboards and so on. Yeah. With that said, I will move into Q&A, because that was my technical presentation for today. I hope it gives you a little bit of insights of what we have done. I hope it maybe the industry gets a little bit inspired of what we have done. And if you have any questions, or please,
Hi, my name is Slava. I'm from Maersk. Working in the contingent workforce industry.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's really impressive, and really, was fascinated by the way you tackled this tail spend challenge. But I'm wondering, what is the technology behind this setup? So, because there are, plenty of freelance platforms on the markets, and I'm wondering, have you, developed something yourself, and how then you connected the freelancers to the platform, like on the, how the vehicle runs? So that's the question.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we know Maersk already from one of our colleagues that is here. We will hear him in the panel. Okay. So that's a very good question. In terms of technology, for us, we didn't implement a system in itself. You will hear a little bit learnings later from one of our colleagues here regarding another setup that we have, which is called IT ByDesk. And she will she has a lot of more learnings when it comes to that technology per se of VMS systems and so on. For us, it was, we have developed the first MVP, which was based on our SharePoint site. Yeah, where we have project request form, that's how it's called, promoted that one inside the organization. And the thing that we have put in the back end was actually a CRM system where we have collected all of the information for all of the projects so that we can actually automate a lot of the processes behind, such as reminders about the project that you have submitted. Please, can you actually submit the project? Is it okay was it okay working with freelancers? So we have also that form. So in the back end, we have a CRM, SharePoint site, and I think that in the future, there will be more technology added on top, yeah? But for now, these were the main tools that we have used. So if we look at the process, because now this is a process. So the process is you will submit a project request form in our platform. Afterwards, it will be externalized like a mini RFP, light RFP to the right suppliers that we have. Because again, I want to see what all of the suppliers have to offer. It is rerouted manually, so the suppliers are submitting it to the right person, to the right stakeholder, that is the project owner. I'm acting as a, let's say, sparring partner, bottleneck sometimes, in making sure that the right person is selected. Line of business takes the decision, and then I'm helping them with all of the contracting legal in the back end. That is already done anyway, but I am the one helping them. Not in this case, but you'll hear other stories a little bit later with more qualified. But in this case, not yet, I would say. I think it might come. Yeah. Welcome. Do you have any more questions? Yes,
Hi.
please.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm Quentin from Malte. My question is on-site versus remote. You show a few examples of freelancers that you worked with in remote countries. Has it changed your strategy, hiring freelancers? Are you going more remote than previously with your existing suppliers? And what is the mix today between remote and on-site projects?
Okay, so it really depends here on the activities that they need to run, okay? Because again, there will be activities that they need to have access to our systems, and the easiest way is actually to have them onboarded fully as freelancers, obviously, but onboarded in the whole setup of Novo Nordisk. So that will be, they will receive initials to be very technical. But definitely we want to keep it remote. So if there is a need of working on a very specific project, then we will also put them to be, I don't know, maybe in the office or if it makes sense, yeah? But definitely remote. We don't want necessarily to have all of that access if it's not needed, of course, yeah? And then we have one question. Yes, but we have one question here first. Sorry, just to... Yes, of course, the steps, Elina, the steps.
Hi, thanks, and for a great presentation. I'm Niels from Free Agents. My question is a bit about how do you, or do you see any challenges, I should rephrase, in keeping your talent pools engaged, and how do you maintain that over time? I guess there'll be times where you don't have, high demand of projects coming in. Do you see any of the freelancers,
No, so we engage directly with the suppliers So the suppliers are the one who need to keep the freelancers excited about the projects that are coming. So I'm going to leave it to the suppliers to do that. I'm not going to take responsibility on that process. But what we do generally is actually we work close with suppliers to kind of give them an indication of what we see of needs in the organization and what we should be kind of working on. Then I also constantly I bring them in maybe to present some new capabilities that they have been building, or so it's more of a supplier management situation than a freelancer management. Yeah.
And is that something you have like a bit of a timeline for, so you can see 3 months, 6 months, 12 months ahead of what's coming, or how's that?
Yes.
Plan?
So we have because it's tied into the period of time when you do the budgets. So we always have discussions with stakeholders. Just to give you a little bit of insights, procurement is not an organization that sits here. So you see me with a tie today or whatever, we go out there. Yeah. So we're very much in line of business. We know what is happening out there. So we are close to them and we make sure that whatever need they have, diversifying the supplier portfolio, finding new ways of more cost-efficient solutions, then we work on those ones ahead of time. So that's when we engage with suppliers and we'll tell them, hey, this is how it works. Could we actually do something? Yeah. And we engage generally with multiple suppliers because we also have a very clear, let's say, value in procurement of competitively sourced. So it's not given to one supplier. It's at least 2 suppliers that are coming to the table, even in the freelancer setup. Yeah.
Thanks.
And then we had one more, and then I think we need to wrap up because...
Just.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm Abir Qumsiye from Jordan, from Khibrati. Me and Caroline are here from the Middle East. And we started serving the Saudi market, which is a very evolving and very huge and interesting market. And my question, before my question, I will say thank you. I know that a lot of hard work have been put in all this to be where you are today. And my question has 2 small parts. First of all, would you be able to share some numbers with us, like, perhaps the size of the projects in terms of the revenues or the number of experts? I saw maybe 300, but I'm not sure of that number. Also, have Novo Nordisk thought about monetizing this, like serving or you've already done that or not yet, like having this provided for other companies? Thank you.
Thank you. So 2 questions. I'll answer the first one. So in terms of revenue, I will not share that because that's something that we do internally, but I can tell you in terms of number of projects, which last year we have had around 700 projects across the value chain. Yeah, 700 projects, they vary from a small amount of, 10,000 euros or whatever to bigger numbers. Yeah. Really, really big numbers because we work across the value chain with different skill sets. Yeah, so we look at pricing access. We look at market access. So we have a lot of people that are working as freelancers in different parts of the organization. Okay, so in terms of projects, we are faring okay. We have increased the number of projects year over year. So last year it was probably around 300% increase. Yeah, so we really took off quite well. When it comes to the monetization of the program in itself, we are not a big fan of that. We are willing to share our knowledge without any type of problem. Also, the people that we have in the program have left for other companies, so they are probably doing their own things out there. Just putting it, I know quite well what happens, but we are not going to monetize on this. Yeah. So what we will do, we will be transparent as much as we can, allow us to actually share the learnings that we have internally in Novo Nordisk, and I think that will continue. Yeah, super. Thank you so much. It's been really amazing, and hopefully you'll have an amazing day here in our house. And again, please be engaged and ask a lot of questions because this is really our moment to grill everybody here on the stage. Yeah, thank you.